All right, welcome to what is probably part 3 at this point of this little series. And what we're doing today, or this weekend, my goal is to have the motor buttoned up. So I want to have the head bolted back on. I want to have it all assembled, cams back in. I'll have all the valves back in, but step 1 of that process is cleaning the intake valves. Now, B12 chem tool is the big one that a lot of guys use, but it's not available in Canada. It's hard to find, so not gonna work for me. So Googling around and looking around, these are the two things that I found work or help anyways. And my valves, they're not terrible, so I'm hoping that this stuff does it. But the non-flammable brake clean apparently doesn't evaporate, and it does very well on carbon. I literally just dumped that in there and it's already black, like pure black. And this one here, this is the seafoam. The seafoam, I heard it's decent. I heard it can work too, so I bought one of each, and we've got 4 valves in each side. Now, what I've done is I've labeled them all, so I know that that's going to be cylinder 1, that's the second valve, cylinder 1 first valve, so on and so forth. So I've got 4 soaking in the seafoam, I've got 4 soaking in the brake clean. Probably going to give them maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour before I take one out to inspect. Also, I've purchased some cleaning supplies. They are right here. And what I heard worked is Scotch-Brite. This is no scratch. Again, with valves, if you scratch a valve, you're gonna have leak down issues. Nobody has time for that. Nobody wants to deal with that. It's a nightmare. Also, I bought some sandpaper. I have found one video online where he used 8, 1,000, and 1,500, and the valves come out like polished. They're almost mirror. So between that and using the drill and using the Scotch-Brite and doing the soaking, I should have these, clean enough, I'd hope. But we will see. For now, we're gonna let them soak. But yeah, there isn't really a ton of great information on how to clean carbon off your valves, especially if it's not in the motor. Obviously, I could take these somewhere and get them blasted while not blasted. But I'd rather not. I want to keep everything in home, and I don't want to wait on that turnaround time. So I'm trying the DIY. If this works, I'll make sure that the video is nice and everything's well documented, because again, there's a few write-ups. Guys are using wire wheels and B12 chem tool. Well, we don't have that, so this is the other option. And wire wheel, I've heard that it can work. It's just you risk damaging the valve. I mean, maybe if it's a soft enough wire wheel, sure, or a wire brush or something, but for now, I'm just going to try this method. It looks like there's already carbon trickling off in there, which is so cool, and this is pitch black, so I don't know. Hopefully these soakings are doing something, but yeah, that's what we're doing today, cleaning off the intake valves, getting them back in the head, and yeah, that's it. We'll pick this back up a little later. So after a good soaking in the seafoam and this stuff here, the non-flammable brake clean, honestly the seafoam wasn't doing anything. Absolutely zero. The brake clean started to work. The valves started to look decent, but they soaked for about an hour-ish and it still wasn't enough. So I've been told that this stuff is the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas, so to say, of cleaning carbon, and it was like $6. So I'm soaking the valves in it. It's been, I don't know, not even a minute or so, maybe maximum, and I can already see it's starting to come off, and leave carbon residue in the foam. This stuff's pretty nasty. The directions say don't get it on your skin, wear gloves, all of that. So hopefully it's heavy duty enough to get the carbon off of these valves. So I've been cleaning and prepping the timing cover to go back on. So I used a razor blade and I went all the way around, scraped off all the RTV. It was all right in the corners. Used the Scotch-Brite pad and some brake clean. Cleaned everything nicely. So this will just get a bath in brake clean, or it'll just get sprayed off before final assembly. I do have a new front main seal here. I don't know if I need to change it, but I have one, so I'm probably going to change it. I don't know what's involved. I guess it's just kind of pressed in there, right? Nothing too fancy on that. So anyways, I'm going to leave it in there for now, and I'm going to just give this a nice hose down in brake clean, just a final hose down, and then then it's done. The cams I already cleaned. They were just bright clean and towel, nothing fancy there. So those are kind of sitting in the clean area. This is going to go next. And then hopefully I can get these valves cleaned before the end of today and get them back in the head. Because then that sets me up tomorrow to get the head back on the block and get this thing ready for install. So yeah. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes sitting in this stuff. Let's take a look here and evaluate. Wow, stuff's definitely coming off. Look at all the carbon and gunk sitting in the foam. This is really weird. I've never used something like this, but I mean, it seems to be working. It's definitely very aggressive. It's very stinky. Breathing it, smelling it, it sucks. I don't recommend it. Apparently it's harmful to pets and stuff. This stuff is real toxic. So I don't know. That's probably why it works. Typically the more harsh the chemicals, the better they work. So I'm gonna let these soak for maybe another 20 minutes, another half hour, so it'll be almost an hour. Then it's happening. I'm cleaning them. I'm getting the carbon off. That's enough of this. Damn, I'm so impatient. I hate it. All right, so I haven't picked up the camera in a few hours, but we've been busy. So what I did first was obviously dump the valves in the soaking fluid to let it soak. But anyways, I cleaned up all the mating surfaces on the timing side and on the oil pan, anywhere that RTB is going to go, even the head. I went over and cleaned it up. The valve cover is under there and the timing cover is there. The timing cover I cleaned the hell out of, so it's super clean. So is the oil pan. So when I do RTV everything, it should be mint, no problems there. Now for the moment of truth, what everyone wants to see, the valves. They've been soaking in this nasty freaking stuff, which is like so dirty. But look at this. Look. So I bought carbon specific cleaning stuff. I spent about 25 bucks. So I bought the seafoam there and the brake cleaner. They didn't do anything. They sat for about 2 hours. The seafoam did absolutely nothing. The bright clean, I want to say, did a little bit. But this stuff, this is the secret sauce. So this is $6 oven cleaner from Canadian Tire. This thing's still like full. I barely even scratched the surface on what's in here. But yeah, $6, and these are the results. So what I did was I took it out, wiped it down with shop towel, stuck it in the drill, and spun it on a Scotch-Brite pad. This isn't even an aggressive one. And look, it literally came right off. I mean, this is ready to be lapped and reinstalled as far as I'm concerned. But anyways, I'll show you what the process I did. We'll clean all of them up, and we'll reconvene. All right, so I guess I'll show a little bit of live action on what I did here to clean these. I'm gonna pop this one away since it's pretty much good to go. Until lapping time, that is. So we'll just set this over here for now, out of the way. I'll get some gloves on because this oven cleaner stuff's pretty freaking nasty. Definitely don't want that all over the place. And I had a special request from actually a couple people saying that they enjoyed the content, but they wanted to see more POV how-to, see exactly what it is I'm doing. So right now I'm just changing the music, picking something good here. Oof. Hit him with a little Jethro Tull. Anyways, let's do it. So as you can see, this stuff is big time nasty. The carbon literally jumps off the valve though. I cannot believe it. I mean, I'm just hitting that with freaking paper towel and it's coming right off. So now let's get a little more aggressive. I'll show you guys the process that I've been using, or that I've used once. And it worked pretty good, but yeah, here we go. Little Scotch-Brite action. Look at that. It's just coming right off. Look at that. So much better. And that is it. That is good to go. That is ready to be lapped and reinstalled. Wow, so much cleaner. I'm very impressed. I cannot believe it. Can't believe how well that worked. Thank you, Pat. What a great suggestion. Leave it to Pat, who's been doing this for 200 years. Of course he knows. Of course he knows. Look at this stuff. Oh my goodness. It's freaking nasty, I'll tell you. Okay, so what we are doing here is lapping the intake valves. Now, because this motor was already assembled and running, the person who built it but definitely already did this. Lapping valves is best practice. Some manufacturers, some engines, they don't recommend it at all, or they don't need it. But it's definitely always suggested and recommended. So what I'm going to do here is kind of just take you through my process on how I do it. I've done this before. It's a simple process, nothing really special required. Valve grinding compound, it's basically just goop with sand in it. And the idea is, what it does is the edge of the valve gets cut to the cylinder head. Using that, it just kind of mates them so that they seal when the valves are closed. That's the idea. If you just put these in, this surface isn't true and this surface isn't true. It's guaranteed not. That's for sure. So it's not going to seal. When the valve's closed, it's not going to seal. You're going to have compression issues, and that's just the beginning of it. So the idea behind lapping the valves is to seat the valve into the valve seat into the head. So it's very important that you know exactly which valve came from where and where it's going, because you know, once it's lapped to the cylinder, to that particular port, that's where it's going. So anyways, let me take you through the process. Let me show you how I do it, or how I've been doing it, and we'll go from there. So number one, you need lube. You need some lube down in there, because your valve seals, those need to come out. So I've already removed the valve seals, pretty simple with some pliers. But your valve guides, or valve seats, or whatever they're called, those are still in there. Those are machine shop pressed in. It's not really something you can do yourself as far as I'm concerned. So you don't want to damage those. You don't want to damage the stem of the valve. So motor oil, assembly lube. I like the Lucas Oil stuff. It's thick, it's goopy, it works real well. Just a little down in there, right where the valve is going to go. Try not to get it onto the seat where you're going to be lapping, because you do not want that causing any issues. So get that down in there. Next step, you're going to need some of your lapping compound, and I'm just using a little cut up zip tie here. Nothing fancy. You can use a popsicle stick, your finger, whatever. And you don't need much of this. You just want to go real easy right on the edge. You can see kind of right where the valve would seat. And so you just want to spread this stuff out nicely all along the edge of the valve. I might have gone a little generous on this, but no matter. We can dab away the excess, anything that shoots out underneath. After that, just make sure your assembly lube has made it down into the valve guide. Drop your valve in. And now we can begin lapping. So the lapping tool is just this suction cup guy. There's different sizes, so depending on what you're working on, this one here has been the winner for the Mazdaspeed stuff. So that's the one we're going to use. Just going to give a little wipe down on the valve. Make sure there's no oil or anything there so that that suction cup can actually stick, because it's a little bit of a pain. It doesn't stick so great. But anyways, you stick your suction cup to your valve. As you can see, she's stuck. And you want to make sure you don't get any lapping compound down in your valve guides or anywhere else. The whole head needs to be cleaned after this, brake cleaned, parts washer or whatever. You really got to clean it good after. And what you're going to do is you're just going to turn it. And you can hear that grinding noise. It doesn't sound good, but it is good. And the way you know it's working or that you're done or whatever, see how much quieter that's gotten? I haven't changed anything. It's nice and quiet. So now if I lift the valve up, just kind of turn it around, set it back in, it's going to be loud again. And what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to give her a few good spins. You may need to wipe off any crud that may be coming up from under your valve there, but stick the suction cup back on, give her a good spin. And with how quiet it's becoming now, and it's becoming a lot quieter, a lot quicker, I know that this one is just about done. It doesn't take much force. You don't really need to press too hard or anything. It's not a muscle intensive job, that's for sure. It's a little annoying. These suction cup tools, they're not the best, but they're cheap and they work. So for the once every 10 years that you're probably going to do this, they're fine. And so I'm going to keep going until it's quiet. And so that's it. I'm going to go ahead and call this one lapped. It's done. So take your valve out, clean all the crud off of it, because there's going to be all kinds of crud on it. There's going to be oil on the stem. These are all going to go through the parts washer or brake clean or whatever. One by one, they're going to get cleaned off nice and good. This valve looks like it's got a little nick in it, but it's not on the top and the sealing surface, so we don't care. Just get that lopping stuff out of there. And that's really it. I mean, it's kind of a slower process. Spend maybe 5 minutes per valve, one at a time. I've got 3 more to go, and I've got actually 4 if I include this guy. This guy's still soaking. Majority of the carbon came off, but there's one deposit that's really on there, so I'm gonna let that soak, and then I'll do that last. So I'm going to lap the last 3 here, then we'll clean this guy up, lap it, then we will clean the whole entire head. Then valve seals go back in, and valves go back in, and springs, retainers, that whole fun process again, and then we can put it on the motor and start to really get back to a long block again, which I'm excited for. That's the goal this weekend, is to get the long block assembled and more or less be ready for accessories and dropping it in, because then I can bring the car over here and you know, start pulling the motor out. That'll be a whole nother thing. So yeah, anyways, that's valve lapping for you. Nothing really special there, nothing much to it.